I'm sure you've heard the expression, take one for the team, meaning you have to sacrifice something for the good of the team. Usually this applies in sports, but it becomes problematic when it's talking about gender roles. Men telling women to take one for the team because it leads to a sum of greater mutual happiness, when it's debatable whether or not it really does lead everyone to a greater happiness. Plus, it's mandated for women to do this. They do not have a choice. My name is Paul Pasulka, Ivy Masters Learning Center and IvyMasters.com. And today we're going to look at Test 3, Section 1, number 31, which reads, as used in line 21, common most nearly means. So we have a vocabulary and context question. Remember your things for vocabulary and context. Number 1, correct answer, you want to ignore any meaning of the word that you're familiar with, because they love to give you a common word, like common, and then give you a definition that's a correct answer that may not be any meaning of the word that you're familiar with. So get it 100% based on context. Number 2, you could think of your own word or words that fits in place and look for a match in the answer choices. Number 3, you could put each answer choice in place of the original word. Number 4, sometimes there's a synonym before or after. And then lastly, you could even work backwards from the answer choice and say, hey, when does common mean this? In what context? Is it used in the same context here? So let's go to line 21 and we'll see what's going on. Okay, I overshot. So we get in line 21, it seems, well actually let's get a little context, because we've got here, if the exclusion from public employments decreed against women, now in other words, women are not allowed by law to work, leads to a greater sum of mutual happiness for the two sexes. In other words, if women are not allowed by law to work and men and women are both happier for it, then this becomes a law that all societies have been compelled and to acknowledge and sanction. And if we read up top, we see that Talleyrand, he is a diplomat. So he's a French diplomat. So he's probably saying, hey, this is what we're doing over in France. You guys should do the same. Don't allow women to work. And so we go back up to line 21 and we see how that fits in. So that's a context. It seems incontestable, meaning you cannot argue against it, that our common happiness, and who is he talking about? He's talking about men and women. The happiness of men and women above all that of women. So everyone's happiness is more important than women's happiness. So women, even if you're not as happy, you got to suck it up. It makes everyone, men and women, happier as a whole. They never requires that they never aspire to the exercise of political rights and functions. So if women are not allowed by law to vote or hold public office, everyone is happier, men and women, is what that's saying. So what's meant by line 21, common happiness? So let's take a piece of that context. It seems to us incontestable that our common happiness above all that of women requires so I'm not going to remember that whole entire thing, but it seems incontestable to us that our average happiness, what does average happiness above all that of women? So notice it says above all that of women. So you must be talking about men and women. Average wouldn't fit. Our shared happiness, shared between men and women, that makes sense. Our coarse happiness. What's meant by coarse there? Like rough? I'm not sure. Common or coarse? So common, if we work backwards from the answer choices, when does common mean coarse? It might be a common something or other. It's of inferior quality as opposed to something exclusive. That doesn't fit the context either. Similar happiness. So similar happiness, it would have to be shared happiness. Happiness between men and women. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, click like. You can share it with someone who has difficulty with vocabulary and context questions. If there's any question you'd like to see answered from any official PSAT or SAT or ACT, leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to shoot a video on it. And click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Have a great day.